Hi everyone, it's Jordan again, and for today I want to read you guys a devotional written by my friend Hasina. Now, if that name Hasina rings a bell to you, it's because she is the woman who hosts the podcast that I got the honor of being on a few weeks ago, and she also sends out these weekly devotionals. Today's really hit me because it's about Jesus' time in the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, that is a really, really powerful scene for me to think about, and I think as Christians it should be powerful to each of us to recognize the weight of what Jesus went through in those moments. So this devotional kind of highlights some of those points. In the quiet darkness of Gethsemane, soldiers arrived led by Judas to bring Jesus before the Jews for execution. But Peter draws his sword, prepared to fight to stop what must occur. Jesus says to Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Now that's kind of her backdrop, her lead-in, but I want to kind of set the scene a little bit even more so that we fully get the weight of what's going on here. Jesus knows what's coming. When those soldiers show up, Jesus knows what's next. He knows that he's going to be betrayed. He knows that he's frankly going to be tortured. That literally the weight of the world, the weight of all of our sin, is going to be placed upon him, and that he's ultimately going to be crucified. He knows all of that is coming. And yet he says, "No, Peter, don't fight back against it. Don't fight. Don't take up your sword." That's where we pick up back with what my friend Hasina wrote. She says, "This question is timeless." What question? The question of John 11:18, where Jesus says, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup that the Father has given me?" This question is timeless, speaking directly to our own struggles. While Peter sought to avoid the suffering through resistance, Jesus embraced his purpose with unwavering resolve. He understood something that we often forget, that the cup before us, however bitter, serves a divine purpose. I want to pause right there because it's interesting to me. One of her subtitles here is "When Surrender Becomes Strength." And it occurred to me as I was reading through this, if you were to just kind of walk in on this scene, wouldn't it almost look like Peter is the one who has more strength? I picture him with his sword drawn, ready to go into battle, ready to fight whoever he has to fight to keep this from happening. And Jesus is just standing there, ready to willingly go. It almost looks like Peter has the strength in that moment. But really, Jesus, we know, is the one with all strength. Jesus could have called down 2 million angels if he wanted to protect him. Jesus could have immediately had all those soldiers just immediately die or become blind. He could have, it's literally limitless, the number of things that Jesus could have done to stop this from happening, because he has limitless power and limitless strength. However, he's the one choosing not to fight back. And that's where it comes in, the strength that's often overlooked, the strength that's often not even noticed by the world, the strength of surrendering to God's will, the strength of recognizing this is God's plan and I'm going to surrender to God's plan. That's the strength that Jesus is showing, and it goes way deeper and it's way bigger than just the physical strength of holding up a sword and trying to fight somebody. Now, each of us has been given a cup to drink. It may contain adversity, rejection, illness, or loss. We cannot escape these challenges, but we can choose how we respond to them. You will face your own garden moments, those crossroads where you must choose between resistance and acceptance. When choosing, lean into Christ's example. He didn't run, he didn't fight. He surrendered to the Father's will, knowing that purpose would be fulfilled through his suffering. What cup sits before you today? Perhaps it's a difficult relationship or a career setback or a health crisis. The natural instinct is to push it away or to try to fight against it. Yet true spiritual growth comes by asking, how can I drink this cup with dignity and faith? Drinking your cup is not easy. It requires courage and the willingness to face reality without denying its difficulty. Did Jesus sit there and say, "This is going to be a piece of cake. I'm super excited to go with these soldiers"? No. Jesus knew what was coming. He knew it was going to be a word that awful doesn't even begin to describe. And yet he still had the courage and willingness to face it. It requires spiritual discernment, listening carefully to God's voice amidst all of the fear. I would add here, it requires perspective. Jesus knew he had spent time with God, right? He had just been praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. He had just been crying out to God and talking to God. Do we have that much of a relationship with God? Do we talk with God that much that when circumstances come into our lives, when we're faced with that cup, that we have the strength enough to surrender and the strength enough to say, have the perspective of knowing this is God's plan for me, this is God's will, so I'm going to surrender to it? Do we have enough of a heavenly and godly perspective to see challenges as things that God is using in our lives? It also requires perseverance, the determination to press forward one step at a time, even when the path leads through darkness. Remember that the cup Christ drank led to resurrection. Your suffering likewise serves a greater purpose that you do not often see in the moment. I would add to that, sometimes we don't even get to see it until we reach heaven. Sometimes we never know what our suffering is doing, what God is doing in the suffering, I should probably say, rather. But these are all important points to me to recognize. Jesus felt the pain, he felt the fear, he felt the dread, but yet he didn't resist it. How easy is it for me to have a mindset of saying, oh, come on, this is not happening. I'm going to fight against this. I'm going to deny this. I'm going to do everything that I can to keep this from happening. When really God is up to something, and maybe I can see it now, or in the future, maybe I can't. But do I have enough of a heavenly perspective? Do I have enough trust and faith in God to accept it instead? To have a different focus, to say, okay, God, you brought this into my life. I'm going to show strength not in fighting back. I'm going to show a much greater, much deeper strength than that. Not my own strength, not in my own abilities, but the strength of surrendering to God. The strength of surrendering to his will. The strength of understanding and trusting that he's using what's going on in my life. He used the crucifixion. As we know, Jesus rose. Jesus has the opportunity to save all of us if we will come to him, because he walked this road. I don't know what the cup that you are dealing with is. I don't know how hard it is, but I'm sure that Jesus would say, man, that cross was so hard for me, but I knew that it was my Father's will, so I was all in, and I showed the strength in surrendering to that will and to that plan. I hope you do the same. I hope I do the same. It's a good message for all of us to think about and to remember. God is good all the time. I love you guys. Bye.